Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome for the first time since Mardi Gras and the first time in March. This is NOLA Theater Talk, and we are back. It took a little bit of work, but we've got a wonderful program in store for you tonight. We will try to come on as many times as we can on Mondays. Fridays are becoming a bit problematic, even though we did try to do the show on Mondays and Fridays during the peak of the COVID past, but we're going to at least try to adhere to the Monday night rule that we start at 8 o'clock and try to keep to that schedule as much as we can. Next week, we hope, we haven't had it confirmed yet, but we hope to have some of the members of the cast of The House That Will Not Stand by Marcus Gardley that is now on stage at Le Petit Theater. But we have not had that confirmed yet. So we're still waiting to hear back as to whether or not that will happen. And once I get a confirmation from Le Petit, I will put that out and publicize it and hopefully publicize it on other sources as well. So tonight we have a slight departure. I believe that, theater is a term that extends out into all of the classical arts, opera and ballet, because there's quite a bit of theater in all of that. And so occasionally you'll see me deviate from straight plays or musicals or things of that sort and delve into some of the classical arts. And tonight is one of those instances. We are going to be talking about New Voices, which is a program going to be shown in all of its glory at the Marigny Opera House. And we're going to be talking with 3 of the 4 choreographers. We'll find out a little bit more about the program, actually a lot more about the program, and we'll find out something about the Marigny Opera House. First of all, we want to start by inviting into the room the founder of the Marigny Opera House, and of course, for those of you who are familiar, the person who that is Dave Hurlbert. We're going to bring him in first, and then we'll add our other groups. And Dave, welcome to NOLA Theater Talk. And again, I want to thank you for being here. Those of you who know, I've been doing this for some time and had the pleasure of having you on, although we have discussed the Marigny Opera House insofar as it was part of the New Orleans Opera Association's season for 2022, and which you were going to be involved with in terms of having the venue. But Dave, I know you are first and foremost a lover of ballet. You've been very, very committed to the art form, to the discipline, if you will. And the Marigny Opera House is sort of your passion, but it wasn't the Marigny Opera House not so very long ago. We do remember that it was a former church, and maybe you could talk a little bit about the history of it, how you came to espy the property, and what it was about it that spoke to you in such a way that you thought that you could use it as a venue and a performing space.
I'd be happy to. And thank you for having us all here, Alan. Over 10 years ago, my partner Scott and I found the Marigny Opera House. At that time, it was Holy Trinity Catholic Church, which was closed and decommissioned. And the word on the street was it was going to be torn down. So we wanted to save it. We thought it was a very beautiful building. So we bought it. It was cheap, but we had to put a lot of money into it to save it. After that was secured, we determined that the best use of the space would be for an arts center to do performing arts, especially what my own background and interests are and capabilities are, classical music, jazz, ballet, modern dance, new songs, new music. So we began doing that 10 years ago, and we established the Marigny Opera Ballet 8 years ago. It's a resident dance company there, and it's a professional dance company. We rehearse every day, and we put on a full season. And our next show is March 18th through 20th. It's our last show of the season, and it includes 4 of our dancers that we've asked to produce new pieces, premieres. short pieces to live music. And that's what we're doing in just another week.
And it's going to be called New Voices, correct?
That's it.
Yeah. So again, I think we should just back up a little bit. You found this abandoned church, Holy Trinity, and I remember going inside of it at first, and I do remember there were pigeons running around. I mean, the roof was in disrepair. There was a lot of work to be done, but yet it spoke to you. And what was it about that particular space that you know?
Well,
As I say, spoke to you, that made it evident that that was something you could use and you could form into a performance space.
I've traveled extensively around the world, and I've performed in a lot of venues. When I walked into that space, as horrible as it was with the pigeons and the raccoons, I realized how beautiful it was, and I didn't want it to be torn down. And my first impulse was to save the building, which we did, and we've done. And we've continued to work on that building to reinforce it. We recently reinforced the stained glass, which was still there. And then shortly after, we hosted the first Fringe Festival. This was in, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Building. We had no heat. We had no bathroom. We had no water.
Right.
But we hosted it nevertheless. And it was one of the happiest nights of my life. And I thought, this is what the building is for.
Mm-hmm.
So we've gone on from there and established a nonprofit and established a ballet company. And I'm very proud of that. And it's the entire point of my life right now.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I talked earlier before we came on that I always like to have a cocktail to come in to sort of break the ice with everybody, literally an icebreaker. And I said that I was trying to come up with something, and I come up with a drink called a ballet russe, but it required cream de cassis, which I don't happen to have. But I did come up with the next best thing.
How about Ukraine?
Look what I got. A Negroni. A Negroni is as close to a Parisian drink that I can come up with.
Sure.
So I made a nice Negroni, very nice. And again, make a Negroni with equal parts of gin, sweet vermouth, and Campari. And I put a little bit of a zest of an orange in there, and that's your classic Negroni. So I don't know what you brought in.
Herbal stuff and a little bit of gin.
All right, herbal stuff. Well, that qualifies. We're both gin tonight. At least a third of mine is gin. So before we bring in our three choreographers, and you did say, I think it's important to stress that these three choreographers have worked with you over the course of the last 8 years that your company's been up, and that they are actually invested with the company in terms of, it's not like somebody coming in and being a choreographer, that they are actually presenting the New Voices program as part of your continuing program, but that they are actual byproducts, if you will, of what you've been doing, right?
We have a close-knit company. We rarely bring in new dancers. We've been together for 8 years. The dancers that you'll be talking to, who we have allowed to be choreographers for this program, had been with the company for 5 years, 4 years, etc. Every once in a while, we like to give our dancers the opportunity to choreograph new works, short works, 20 minutes each. And we've done that this season. But we're a professional, tight-knit company. Our dancers have been with us for years. And that's what makes us strong, I think. And that's one of the things that makes us great as far as a performing company.
Well, I think that the fact of the matter is there are very few entities such as you that exist that are new, that are doing new kinds of dance. I know that there are people out there who will probably say, well, we do new creative kinds of things, but you have been very consistent in terms of actually incorporating new music. I know that he's not on the program tonight, but Tucker Fuller, who's an award-winning composer, has contributed a number of pieces, and I know that you were cited for some of the work that you've done by the Big Easy Dance Committee, et cetera. And maybe you might want to speak a little bit about that. And also, I know that you had some success with one of the gentlemen who had accepted the award. I think at the Big Easy Classical Arts Committee had gotten some pretty favorable response from the community, who was somewhat new. And I think was it is it Diego? I'm trying to remember his.
Well, Diogo de Lima.
Yeah, de Lima.
For a while, but we've gotten over 14 awards from the Gambit awards every year. They were paused during COVID, but I believe we have 14 awards for choreography, for performance, for whatever. We pride ourselves on those awards. And I think the strength of those awards are we're a resident company. We don't contract out. We don't hire people to do a show. We rehearse together all year long. And we become close to each other and we understand each other. And that's why I think it's a good thing that we bring in our dancers to choreograph new works. We pride ourselves also on having live music. And often the music is written specifically for our new works. Tucker Fuller has done 4 ballets for us so far, orchestral ballets. We've had also the New Leviathan Orchestra, which performed Follies of 1915, which won awards. Sometimes we do classical music with the New Resonance Orchestra, with Francis Scully as the conductor. But except for one occasion, we've always had live music. And that's important for me because Marigny Opera House supports all local performing artists. Yeah. Includes dancers as well as musicians. So it's not really in our mission to have recorded music. We want to support everybody.
Right. And again, that's, I think, what sets you all apart, because a lot of people may do contemporary dance and but they usually do it to recorded pieces. And that doesn't mean that that's not good. But again, it steps up your game quite a bit when you're able to use live musicians, when you're able to use composers who are writing specifically for you. So speaking about the choreographers, let me first bring in, and he was first to the party. Lauren, you're going to come next because, and I know you're on mute right now. So make sure that you're not on mute when I bring you back in. But Joshua P. Bell is the first of our choreographers to come in. Joshua, maybe you should tell everybody a little bit about how long you've been associated with the company. Did you go back all 8 years?
I've been with the Marigny for, well, shoot, it's hard to say. The pandemic, puts a gap year in your mind, but I think it's been like 6 or 7 years.
So again, most of the history of the company you've been involved with, and again, maybe you can give us a little bit of a background. Where are you from exactly, and how did you come to get involved in dance?
So I was born in Chicago, Illinois, and when I was like, 6 or 7 years old, my parents decided, hey, let's move our family to Jackson, Mississippi, and suddenly I became a country boy, and I wasn't very happy about that when I was, 7. But while there, you go through the schooling system, and I ended up going to a liberal arts school called Belhaven University. I graduated from the dance department there with a BA in dance. And for my final performance, Dave and his partner came to see one of our shows, and he was like, hey, I would love for you to come down to New Orleans and join the company. And I was like, yeah, sure. Let me see how that goes. So since I've graduated college, I've been with the company.
And is there a particular type of dance or ballet that you prefer? In other words, do you feel at home doing some of the older pieces, or are you more rooted in the contemporary?
I love contemporary. I have a very, ballet body and a ballet aesthetic, but my body isn't, keen to that. I lean more towards contemporary movement.
I got you. And before we bring in the others, I did get the program in advance. Dave did send that to me earlier today, so I have a little bit of an idea about what you're going to be doing. But what I really wanted to kind of maybe get some ideas in your own words. The piece that you're going to be doing is called "And Then He Said," correct?
It's and when he said.
Oh, okay. And when he said, all right, you're
Mhm.
gonna have to correct your your program
Uh-oh.
because it says and then he said in the program, but that's okay. Um, but okay, and when he said, so
Mhm.
uh, maybe you can tell me a little bit more about that. What does that refer to? And I know you were quoted about you said this one hurts a little, so I'm not quite sure what that refers to. Is this a personal piece that you're dealing with, or what's it based on?
Yes, and when he said is basically me, and when I said I will be speaking poems that I have written for this work, and this work is loosely based off my childhood, me growing up in the city, and then growing up in the country, and then I reference a lot of my family and what love means to me, um, and finding pieces of that love from both of my parents and my family, and learning that self-love is what's really important for me right now in this section or this part of my life. It's like a ode to my 20s, since I'm at the later end of my 20 years of age.
Hmm. So it's a piece that's going to also include the other two members who have yet to be brought in, but it's also going to include them as dancers involved in this piece too, right? Calvin and Lauren, who we'll meet shortly. So you all are helping each other present each other's works as well, correct?
Correct,
Yeah,
correct.
so that's kind of nice that you can do that. And the music is, I saw Michael Nyman is doing uh, some of the music is used for that piece. Michael Nyman.
Yeah, from his album Yamamoto Perpetual.
And what else? What other pieces are you going to be having? Although I probably can look it up again, but I was kind of interested. That's that's his Yamamoto Perpetual for solo violin. It says selected movement, so I'm trying to get an idea about how long the piece ends up being. Then, if you can give me an idea.
Right. So each there's like five sections in my work, and between each section I will speak a poem. The sections with the music vary from like 2 minutes to 4 minutes in length. Um, and all of the sections pull from that one album.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, but let me go ahead and bring in some of your co-collaborators, if you would. And I think ladies should always be first, but since she came in a little late, when she had some vocal situation, I want to bring her in. Lauren Ashley Messina. Hi, Lauren. How are you?
Hi,
Can you
Alan. I'm
hear me?
great. How are you?
All right. So he was just saying that you're going to be part of that piece. And before we get to your particular piece, is there something special about the piece that Joshua did that you're going to be doing that you wanted to relate? Talk a little bit about that as well.
Sure. Yes, I absolutely love being in Joshua's work. I think it's phenomenal that he's using some of his own personal poetry in the piece, and that's something new. I think, at least in my time at the Opera House, and having some vocalization in work. So that's something that I really admire about his piece.
And Lauren, we said that we were going to ask people what they were brought into the room tonight. So I got Dave and I are both doing a little bit of gin. This is a Negroni. What did you bring in?
I brought a glass of water.
All right, like like any good dancer, you're on a regimen, I guess. Although I have to say one thing, I have noticed that a lot of dancers, as much as they take care of their bodies, they do tend to sometimes smoke more than I would have reckoned. So I never did figure that out. What did you bring in, Joshua?
I have tea. It's like a
Okay,
blood orange tea. It's
okay.
red in color.
So blood orange like a Negroni, right?
Correct.
Very good. All right. So while we have the moment to talk to Lauren, where are you from?
I'm from Springfield, Illinois. Yep, born and
And
raised in Springfield.
yeah, now Springfield, Illinois. I'm trying to remember what was so famous about Springfield. Uh, I know on the Dick Van Dyke Show, the Petrie family was from Springfield, or at least one section of it, but I can't remember too much about it. What? Tell me a little bit. How far away is that from Chicago or any of the other major areas in Illinois?
Sure. Well, it's the state capital, and it's 3 hours south of Chicago.
Gotcha.
Home of the Simpsons.
Okay, maybe that's it. That's the other thing. I had to figure that out. And how did you get involved with dance? Again, what were the factors that brought you to New Orleans? So where did you go to school, et cetera, and how did you get involved with choreography and the dancing of the ballet?
Sure. I grew up dancing in Springfield at a local studio there and a small civic ballet company. And I also went off to Belhaven University, where Joshua went to school at different times. But I did undergraduate there, and I also went back and got an MFA in dance there later. That's in Jackson, Mississippi. And in between, did a scholarship program at the Ailey School in New York City and dancing at a few other small troupes. And then I found my way to New Orleans through Belhaven. There was a dancer at Belhaven that went to the Marigny Opera Ballet, Kellis McSparron, and I found out about Marigny from her and auditioned in 2017.
So there were now three dancers from Belhaven who came to work in New Orleans at the Marigny Opera House.
Oh, more than that.
Yeah. What was your connection? Did you have a feeling that was a good proving grounds for your future artists, or what? How is it that they had so much of an influence to have people come here in that many numbers?
I would say more than half of our dancers are from Belhaven University. It has a fantastic dance department. And we used to go there every year. We're going there again next month to look at their senior students and bring them in. They have a wonderful level of technique and artistry, and I'm very proud to have them. And without them, we would only have one dancer. I think almost everybody we've got at least was in Belhaven for part of the time. These two dancers were.
Yeah. Now, again, I've got the program to go over it a little bit. So Lauren, I have the benefit of knowing what you're going to be doing, but your piece is called Beacon, correct?
Yes, it is.
And you have the music of Florence Price that it looks to me like there's three different little fantasies that you've got, and you're going to have Joshua in there as well, along with a number of other, obviously, other members. But it looks to me like this has a storyline to it. Can you tell me a little bit about what Beacon is all about?
Sure. Yeah. Well, you're right. I'm really excited that the dance is set to the music of Florence Price. I'm using three of Price's works: Fantasy for violin and piano numbers 1 and 2, and Fantasy Negra number 2. And the piece is really, it's kind of a dedication to my father, who is living and dealing with many health issues, but has been a beacon of light and of hope and a strong point in our family of positivity. And the piece is just kind of a glimpse at, I guess, my family life, memories of my family life, might be sort of real, surreal. Yeah, it's about 16 minutes long altogether.
And when you go ahead and you choreograph something like that, and I know there's some people who are taking on the role of a sister or a brother, et cetera. Are there certain things that you want to incorporate in terms of your choreography, how you approach the work that you have in your mind ahead of time, or do you adjust it according to what you're going to do in terms of knowing who the dancers are, who the principals are?
Are you talking about things like movement, like specific technique?
Yeah, well, yeah, because we're not going to really discuss technique. As I told Dave earlier, I don't know the difference between a pas de deux and a pas de don't. So the main thing is that I just sort of if you see somebody like Joshua who's going to be in, and you say, "Gee, Joshua knows how to do this very well, and let me have him do this." I mean, is that how you shape your choreography, or is it you have it already in your mind and he has it conform to what you want him to do?
That's a really interesting question. And I think that what Dave said is so true about Marigny being such a tight-knit company. And so being one of my first works to choreograph, it was nice that it's a little bit of both. I know Joshua and have seen him dance and know what he does, and he does well. I mean, he does everything well, but also with the other dancers, it was really, I could imagine them, this character would be great as a representation of my dad. This character would be great as a representation of me. So it was a little bit of both. And then the dancers come into the work and bring things that I never would have imagined. And it just grows from there.
Okay. Well, let's bring in our last of our choreographers who I talked to earlier today. I got a chance to meet with him, Calvin James Rowe. And Calvin, welcome to the show. Sorry you had to wait a little bit to come in, but we had a few people to come in earlier, and I hope you were entertained. What is it that you brought into the room tonight? Right off the top?
Yeah.
What did you have?
I have let's see. I guess it's an amber cider. Cheers.
Amber cider. Cheers. Is for
Cheers.
Yes. For you who have water, you may have that whenever you want. But
something like a double. You hit it on the table twice. Yeah. Something like that.
So again, Calvin, a little bit of background on you. Where are you from, and how in the heck did you get to New Orleans? Oops. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm here. I'm also a Midwesterner. I grew up in another Crescent City, actually, Muscatine, Iowa, on the river. And so just hopped on a raft, and it took me, a while, but I made my way down.
Well, it must have been a heck of a raft, I can tell you that much. So, Calvin, I have to kind of, get an idea about your background. As I asked them, what schools did you attend, et cetera? What is your training?
I actually I played soccer for a very long time, and growing up, that was what I was gonna do. I played it in college and semi-professionally as well. And then when I sort of found dance, some friends were doing it. I think it was we were able to learn some West Side Story and some Fosse stuff. And when I saw how much of a storytelling it brought, because I'd become interested in theater, and then when I saw that dance, I realized that was everything I wanted. It was storytelling. It was like theater. But it had the athleticism that I yearned for at that time. So
that's kind of a big jump, though, from soccer field to ballet stage, if you will.
Perhaps it was just more fitting for me finally to realize that too, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and again, although there may be injuries, I guess from time to time, you're probably not going to be injured as easily as you would be on the soccer field, I would imagine, too.
Oh yeah, the training, and this for anyone that's listening, get out there and take some dance classes, because it actually is great for you and can protect your ankles and knees because of the regiment of how you're using your body in a really smart way. Whereas sometimes in sports you end up kind of not training properly. But
so now you're doing something called Inevitable Reflections. And
yes.
and you quote Herodotus, is that right? But
your pronunciation is as good as mine. Yeah.
I don't know. Is it? Tell me again the proper pronunciation.
I have said it as Herodotus.
What is it?
I don't actually speak. It's all Greek to me.
Yes, I understand. Now, who were the Morai?
The Morai are the Fates, actually. So they were the three sisters that wove. One takes kind of like finds the life of the person. The next one measures out the thread, how long their life is going to be. The third one is actually who cuts it, who like sets that all in motion.
I got you.
I'm certainly taking some artistic license in this, with the 3 that I have as the fates, but it does draw from that mythology.
And I believe in opera, the fates are used by Wagner for weaving back and forth the story of Siegfried, etc. That they tell the story and they throw back and forth the weaving of the ropes or whatever it is that they're weaving. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, I think that's yeah. Anybody want to comment on that? Yeah. Anyway, Dave, here are your stars, your choreographers. I mean, and this is New Voices. Again, we want to remind everybody this show is going to be presented at the Marigny Opera House on March the 18th, March the 19th, and March the 20th. And are they all at the same time? Does it all start at the same time?
All at 7 p.m. at the Marigny Opera House.
Okay. And of course, I would assume that they're not all sold out, that their tickets are still available, correct?
Tickets are still available. They're selling out, but we're not sold out yet.
Okay. And again, for people who have not been to the Marigny Opera House before, it's on, is it St. Ferdinand? Is that right?
725 St. Ferdinand. Yes.
Yeah. And so not far, from a lot of the what I would call the main drag in the Marigny, before you get to Noka, past what used to be Feelings, just sort of in that general area there. People probably know what we're talking about, not too far from the Mardi Gras zone, as I recall.
Yeah, just off Franklin Street, there's plenty of parking.
Yeah. And again, this is going to be the end of your season, but maybe you could tell me a little bit of, what you've already done before we get back into the this season. How many? We know COVID shortened a lot of people's seasons, et cetera. So what were you actually able to do? I know you were very disturbed and I guess frankly upset that you couldn't present your Josephine Baker piece that you wanted to do because of COVID. So, but what had you set out to do, and what were you actually able to do?
Well, we had to cancel our last season. We were shut down at the end of the season in 2020 from COVID, and it's been very tough. So we missed out on the last season. This season, we got it back together miraculously with our dancers, and we performed the New Orleans Jazz Nutcracker for 2 weekends, which was a sold-out success. And that was original music by Larry Seaberth.
Sure.
We had to cancel our second program because of COVID. And this is our third and final program of the season. And I'm very happy we at least had the opportunity to do these 2 programs during our season.
And again, normal season is about 3 or maybe 4 programs.
Yes.
Is that about? Yeah. Okay. So again, I assume that with the end of this season, you're going to be planning, or you've already got some plans made for next year, which will hopefully be COVID free, and that you can, start maybe getting more people to come into your facility and be able to witness some of the great work you're doing.
I would hope so. We always plan 5 seasons ahead.
Oh, that far ahead?
Yeah, we have to.
Wow. Okay.
So we have next season planned. Would you like to hear about it?
Well, if you're ready to announce it, you're more than welcome to do that.
Well, we haven't announced it yet, so you get an exclusive, Alan. We're going to start with our Nutcracker, which, again, was a sold-out success. It's based in Jackson Square. It's based in New Orleans. It's a jazz.
The Jazz Nutcracker you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Larry Seaberth has reworked the original Tchaikovsky score to be New Orleans jazz, and it's set in Jackson Square. So we're doing that again in December. Then what we're planning to do, we haven't announced it yet, but we're planning to do a premiere of a new ballet, A Streetcar Named Desire.
Wow. Now, is that being commissioned by you, or okay? And is it going to be original music that is specific for that piece?
Tucker Fuller. Yeah.
Ah, and we mentioned Tucker before. He's done some great work for you guys.
He's done 4 ballets for us in the past. So that's our plan. And then also in April, we would do a program based on our repertory of short works, perhaps new ones, perhaps works performed next week. But it will be a mix of repertory with live music for our 3rd program. And that's next year's season. You want me to do 5 years from now?
No, got enough on the plate right now. Let's
right.
talk about L.C. Jones, as E.L.L.E.C. Jones, the choreographer for the final piece called The Game.
Yeah.
Would you care to, or and I know Joshua's in this and Lauren's in this, so maybe, and Calvin's in this, so maybe those 3 could tell me a little bit about what the game is about, and maybe what parts they're doing to give us an insight, since Elle's not with us tonight. Who wants to start?
Can I start with one quote? Elle's whole inspiration for this is based on the game of Clue.
Ah,
you know that game?
Sure.
But Clue without any rules, which makes it pretty horrifying. Her quote at the beginning of her ballet is something like, how desperate it is to be in a game and you don't know what the rules are. And that's her ballet. So it's sort of like watching Clue on stage with a murder.
So Lauren, does that make you Miss Scarlet?
Yes, it does.
Yes. My name in the piece is, I think, Miss Florid, but yeah, it's based on Miss Scarlet.
It's amazing. Joshua, what role are you assuming? Colonel Mustard or?
I think Calvin's actually based off of Colonel Mustard.
Colonel Mustard, okay.
I'm based off of, what was the green character's name?
Mr. Green.
Colonel Green.
There it is. I'm based off of Mr. Green.
And Calvin, as Colonel Mustard, is there something that you dance in a specific way as a I guess you might say
a musket carrying gentleman? No, no, but I did want to say it's great because Elle has created characters for us, which always gives you more space to really dance when you sort of know your intention and who you are. And she also has some brilliant structure that is able to change depending on certain things that happen. And that my colleagues could elaborate on that if they felt, but she has things within the piece that allow it to have a certain outcome that could be different every night. So it's, to me, really an exciting piece to be a part of.
So we've got the 4 pieces that we talked about, and maybe now that we've gotten the New Voices program out and we know exactly what's going to be going on, maybe we could talk a little bit about ballet here in New Orleans, and particularly with the Marigny Opera House, the Marigny Opera Company, the ballet Marigny Opera Ballet Company, I guess, in terms of what they've done, what they're doing, and how it's impacted your lives, I guess you might say. But I'd like to also bring us into where we are, because we're at a particular interesting time. Not only are we coming out of a pandemic, but we're also coming out of a period where theater in particular, but a number of the arts disciplines are being questioned in terms of their diversity, their equity, their inclusivity, et cetera. So maybe, I don't know whether or not Joshua or Lauren want to take that up. Calvin, just where we are right now, is there some ideas about where you think we need to be, and are we headed in the right direction, or what can we do to head in the right direction? Anybody want to take it? Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
We've never been, if you're talking about diversity, we've never considered diversity. We've always been a diverse company.
Yeah.
We only hire the best people. Our company is half Black. Our board of directors is about a third Black and 2/3 white. We've never thought about that. It's become an issue,
Yeah.
and we've tortured ourselves looking back. Have we done enough? But my firm belief is that we have, because we've never considered race. We've considered our best dancers, and we have them. And our best dancers are Black and white. Our best choreographers are Black and white. And so at the end of the day, right now at least, we've decided there's not much more that we can do.
Yeah.
We like the best, and we have them.
Great. No, and you know, I'm not suggesting that it isn't like that, but you know, not everybody is as let's say fortunate as you are. You know, and that's
Yes.
you know, and so there are going to be obviously some inroads that need to be made in some of the other companies, et cetera. There are, I know, a number of companies that are more or less all Black, et cetera, and they tend to do more of the, I would say, Afrocentric kind of works, specific to what's specific, I guess, to the community that they represent. You know, but again, you know, ballet is a very old art form, and you know, I don't know that the changes within it are going to come as quickly for some people as they should. You know, perhaps you know, maybe that's a overstatement, but you know, I think that we are examining ourselves now in many ways, and again, not necessarily just ballet. You know, theater, also in the arts. We're looking to see more people get more positions as directors and things of that sort. And again, having choreographers, you know, is very important, I think, within the whole discipline. So, you know, again, congratulations for that. But are there any things, you know, are there any things that you're thinking about in terms of where there may be some areas here in New Orleans that we can do more for, like the education, for people to be more exposed to ballet? Because
we can always do more of that.
yeah,
There are Black dance companies, there are white dance companies. They should do what they're going to do. Just do it. I don't care.
yeah,
We do what we do. Okay.
right,
And it has nothing to do with race. It never
Yeah.
has been. So we do what we do. But I think as far as education, yeah, we need to continue to work to make ballet not such a perceived elitist art form. And I think that's being done largely thanks to the New Orleans Ballet Association. Free ballet classes to anyone, you know? And a lot of our dancers started out at the New Orleans Ballet Association free classes. We invite school kids into our dress rehearsals to see ballet.
Yes.
It's no more of an elitist dance form or art form than anything else is. Jazz is elitist, if you look at it that way.
hmm
And we happen to do ballet. And our dancers have come from all kinds of backgrounds, from all kinds of places. And we're going to continue to do that. But I think, yeah, you're right, Alan. Education is essential. And I think what's happened in our public schools is we've got less and less arts education. And I think that possibly students in our public schools here in New Orleans are not exposed to ballet as much as they should be.
yeah. And really, when you get down to it, to classical music too, a lot of them are exposed to jazz. I
Right.
think the nature of New Orleans is such that they're going to be exposed to jazz no matter what they want. But the classical art form tends to be on the side that they'll be exposed to some are fantastic artists have come out, you know, who've been exposed out of the New Orleans public school system or the charter school system now. But you know, it seems to me that a lot of that really needs to improve. That there's so many ways for us, to educate our youngsters in terms of being appreciative of what there is out there. But again, I'm not sure that I know the answers myself, and I'm just wondering if you all had any suggestions along the way. Let me get back to Lauren. I'm just wondering, as a woman, as a choreographer, is it something that within the field of, if you will, the discipline, that women choreographers are more plentiful than the males, or is it the opposite?
Well, before I address that question, actually, I want to go back and highlight something that is so wonderful about Marigny, and I want to speak as a person first and not as a woman first. And one of the things that I think is so great about what's happening at Marigny, I won't speak about diversity and inclusivity, although that's really important to me. I think that everyone can do better in so many ways. But one of the things that's happening at Marigny that's wonderful when you talked about education is that we now have a school. And I don't know if you already talked about the school with Dave, but lots of young dancers are coming and being trained at the Marigny Opera Ballet School now. And I think that that is a wonderful way to bring in a younger audience, to train future generations of dancers, all different kinds of people. And then also in terms of the work, I did classical ballet as a young person and have performed in many classical ballets. But what I do love about Marigny is we perform classical ballets, but with original works that are new and that are centered in New Orleans. And so they're fresh. And there's an opportunity, I think, for many different kinds of people to find themselves in the work. And there's more space for everyone, I think, in these new works, which I think is something that's really unique to Marigny, to create those kinds of ballets that are centered in New Orleans, have new characters so that everyone who comes into it can bring something fresh. But yeah, feel free to restate your question. I don't want to miss out on that one.
I was just asking about women choreographers, and you were going to talk as a woman next. You said you were going to talk about it as a person first. So
yeah.
Are women choreographers very plentiful, or is there a need to maybe integrate more women into the discipline as choreographers?
Sure. I could speak from my own experience. And I've had a lot of opportunities to choreograph at different places, at places that have highlighted me as a woman, highlighted me as a Black woman. And it was known, it was explicitly stated that we need you for this, or just that they needed another choreographer, and I happened to be the one. I do love that I was actually watching a recent Twyla Tharp interview, and she inspired me in speaking as a choreographer and as a woman choreographer that, yes, we need more women choreographers. We also need more choreographers, and she happens to be a great choreographer that happens to be a woman, and people always come to her as, what's it feel like to be a woman choreographer in the space? But don't ask her, what's it feel like to be a choreographer in the space? And yes, it's different and it's great. But I don't know. I think, like Dave said, we have the best, and the best sometimes is a woman. But I'm not saying that we don't need more women, but I'm saying that I think that we need to look for the best. And like she was saying, like Twyla was saying, like she is phenomenal choreographer.
And again, for every Twyla Tharp that's out there, there seems to be many more Jerome Robbinses and Bob Fosse's, et cetera, that we know of from my perspective as a theater person. But and so I'm just wondering whether or not that you're seeing a change in that way. And again, you may not be able to comment on that.
No, there's definitely a change. I think most companies now have initiatives where they're hiring not only women choreographers, but choreographers of different ethnicities, and it's a priority. So I do see it changing for sure. Yeah.
Can I break in? Sure. I like your line of questioning, and I don't want you to forget people like Agnes DeMille.
Sure.
Okay.
No.
You've got to remember Agnes DeMille and other choreographers who've already made their mark. on the Broadway stage and on the ballet stage. So, and let's not forget Martha Graham. I mean, I can go on and on. Right?
No, I understand that. And again, I appreciate that. Like I said, I just seem to me that I seem to feel like there may be a little bit more of an opportunity that may exist, that should exist, let's say, for more women to be included. It's difficult. I mean, I remember when I saw not that long ago, I think it was only about 6 or maybe 7 years ago, when Misty Copeland from the ballet world was actually able to go on the stage for On the Town prior to its closing, and that was a big deal.
Not a choreographer.
No. But I was saying as a dancer,
very great dancer,
as a ballet star, to be able to be incorporated in theater, So yeah, that's all I was saying. I mean, it's it just seems like we're making inroads in all sorts of different ways. So yeah, and that's not an indictment or anything like that. So Dave, in terms of your program, the New Voices, again, you've got 3 out of your 4 choreographers that are here, and I'd like to kind of get an idea from them as to what they like best. And I guess that means that you don't get to say anything right now, Dave. But what they like best about the Marigny Opera Theater Company, in terms of the ballet. All right,
go ahead.
Marigny Opera Ballet. What they like best about it. I'd like to hear them say something that you can take as a compliment, maybe. So So Calvin, why don't you start?
Great. A few years ago, really, I decided that to me, the work, of course, is paramount, yes. But something changed where I just thought I want to work with people that I want to spend time with. I want, I want every day to be around people that inspire me and that actually do also that make me better, and that I enjoy being around them. And I felt that at the first audition class that I took, I thought that I found the right spot. So I feel humbled to be among such great choreographers here, dancers, and overall just good people. So,
all right, Joshua, your turn. What do you like most about working with Marigny Opera Ballet?
Can I cheat and have like 3?
Go right ahead.
For one, the space is beautiful. It's inspiring to be in that space, and Dave has recently had the stained glass windows redone, and having the light come through that color and having the pools of color on the ground is really, like, I notice it every time now, and I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. 2, like Calvin said, I really love working with all the dancers. Like, they're friends. Like, I've known them for years, even before Marigny, because a lot of us have been from Bellhaven. It's like, oh, I'm back with my college friends, and like, this feels like home. This feels good. This feels comfortable. I get to learn and grow more with these people that are phenomenal. And shoot, I forgot the third. Oh, live music. I love that aspect. Like, we may like rehearse to recorded music, but when that live music comes in, it puts a different like fire in your chest to move differently, and then it's a little different every night. So you find new nuances to express through your movement. It's just like that extra bit of spice every performance.
All right, then we'll bring up the lady now. So what is it you like best about Marigny Opera Ballet? And Dave is not able to say anything, so say whatever you want now. Remember.
It's funny. I was thinking I'd have something original, but it's 2 of the things that Josh said, and one of them Calvin said. The people, for sure. I feel the same way about the people. I'm so honored to work with all of them, the leadership team, but the dancers too. It does feel like a family to me. And I also really love dancing to live music, which is something I experienced a little bit in high school, but it's it's a huge opportunity to have live music all the time, and I enjoy it so much.
Great answers. I appreciate that because we talk about your work, we talk about what Dave's done, but when you really get down to it, I think that family aspect is what is keeping you there and making you passionate about what you're doing there. So I appreciate you being with me tonight. We have a few more minutes remaining, and I wanted to go over just reiterate a couple of things, but I also wanted to go over a couple of the people who are on your I guess you might say your programs. Besides, of course, the people we have represented, Joshua Bell and Lauren Ashley Messina, and of course Calvin James Rowe. There are other dancers which include Arden McKee, Sarah Radka, and I know that there was another a person who was acting. Lauren Gines is the rehearsal director, and Jarina, I'll probably mess up her name, Carvalho, is that right?
Carvalho.
Jarina? Yeah, and she's essentially your ballet master or mistress, whichever you want to refer. She calls herself a master, which is fine. And also, I'm trying to see if there's any Grace Hart. Those round out all the dancers. So
Jonathan Davis.
okay, I thought I got everybody in the program. Maybe I didn't. So again, they are maybe not the choreographers, but they're an essential part of the formula, I'm sure. Donovan Davis. I wanted to make sure I had him too. Yeah, Donovan Davis. So, go ahead. What were you saying?
That they really are a huge part of making the work. Maybe the steps, maybe I have to make up the steps for them, but there's something where it's not in a vacuum. I don't know if it could be done if I was doing it over, like this or Zoom or something, but it's so important that they are literally in the room with you. And my work especially wouldn't be the same without them. It wouldn't be the same work if it had been a different group of people. So just my thanks to the dancers for what they've brought to it.
So once again, New Voices, Marigny Opera House, March 18, 19, 20, 7 p.m. Tickets available online at Marigny Opera House, I guess Marigny Opera Ballet or Marigny Opera House. What would be the right URL for that?
Probably want to go to marignyoperahouse.org.
marignyoperahouse.org.
Yeah.
Let's see if we get that right. Hold on.
There you go.
All right. So again, I want to thank everybody who's been here tonight. First off, 3 choreographers. I've never had 3 choreographers in a room before. There's probably a joke somewhere in there, 3 choreographers walk into a room, but or maybe they don't walk in, they dance into a room. In any event, that's the spot where you get marignyoperahouse.org, where you can get tickets or more information. Again, I want to thank all 3 of the choreographers. Lauren Ashley Messina, thank you for being with us tonight. I want to thank Calvin James Rowe for being with us as well, and Joshua P. Bell. Joshua, I think there's another fellow named Joshua Bell too, isn't there, who plays violin or something? Yeah, you don't get confused with him. Huh?
That's why I put the P in there.
and of course, the person whose vision and whose stewardship continues to be at the foreground of the Marigny Opera House and the Marigny Opera Ballet, Dave Hurlbert, and I want to thank you for being with us as well. Dave, thank you. Again, I don't get to deviate too much from theater, but once I do, it's a pleasure to be able to have a group dedicated like this. And I have to say, many years ago, I was covering opera, I was covering ballet, I was covering theater, and doing other things for news, etc. And I finally said, you know what, I can't do all of it. I had to actually give up ballet just so I could have a life, because I was covering too much. It was just really, too much of a problem. You're making me now want to get back into ballet. So hopefully that's good. That's good. But, Thank you all for being a part of our broadcast tonight. Again, I'm going to ask y'all to just stick around a little bit so I can say goodbye to you privately. But again, thanks again to all the people who are here, Dave included. This has been the NOLA Theater Talk Show. Again, my name is Alan Smason. And again, we broadcast to the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, the theatercriticism.com Facebook page, and my own YouTube channel. Again, thank you for being here. And as always, I'll see you all at the theater.